Deadlines is a tier 5 White Lotus mission in DMZ, and it asks you to complete 4 contracts in under 6 minutes. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we completed that and give you some tips and tricks so you can do the same. A commenter on my community post yesterday suggested this mission. If there's a mission that you're really struggling with in DMZ, please let me know in the comments below and then I'll get working on guides for those ones too. So first of all, we decided to try and do this mission in a squad. I normally play with 3 players when I can, or at least 2. This mission is obviously much easier if you've got more people. That's not to say it's impossible solo. I actually think this mission is one of the ones that's more doable solo, and I'll kind of talk about that as we go through. I also think this is much easier to do on Al Mazrah. On Ashika Island, there's just less contracts, and weirdly, even though there's less teams, because the island is so much smaller, I think you're much more likely to run into other players. And really, with this mission, you don't want to run into anyone else. You don't want to have to spend any time fighting other players. So, the first thing we did once we loaded into the game is just have a look at the map and try to find some contracts that would work for this. So you're trying to complete 4 contracts as quickly as possible. And the contracts that work really well for stuff like this are HVT contracts, because you can complete them insanely quickly as long as you can find the HVT, that AI soldier that looks a bit different from the others. You can kill them really fast. Like if you've got a vehicle, you can actually just run them over and then it's completed instantly. Radiation contracts are also pretty good for this, because if you've already got the Geiger counter, maybe from doing a radiation contract in a previous game, or you can just do one radiation contract that's not part of your timed ones, so you've got it ready, then as soon as you pick up that contract, all you have to do is find the 2 canisters. So they work really well for this too. All of the other contracts just take a bit too long. Like weapon stash, you have to wait around for absolutely ages for it to unlock. The bomb one, where you have to destroy the supplies, that takes absolutely ages, because even after you've planted the bombs, it takes a very long time. Rescuing a hostage isn't too bad, but sometimes the hostage building can just be a very long way away, which is really frustrating. Hunting squad, obviously, sometimes you might get players who are a very long way away. The cargo missions take absolutely ages, because not only have you got to get to the vehicle, but you've normally got to drive the boat, pilot the boat. I don't know what you say for a boat. Do whatever you do for a boat. Sail the boat? It's not a sailing ship. I don't know. You drive the boat. I'll go with that. You have to drive the boat a long way. And for the intel ones, finding the laptop isn't too bad, but trying to climb up the tower, that can often take a long time too, and then you've got to wait to upload at the top. So stick really with radiation contracts and HVT contracts. Now, because there's 3 of us, basically what we were doing is each pinging a contract that we could do, and then going over to it so we'd be ready as soon as one person started. And then the idea is that one person would pick up one contract, try to complete it as fast as possible, and then the second it was completed, the next person could pick up their contract, and while they were doing that, the first person could move to a second contract, and then the second person completes theirs, the third person picks their one up, and hopefully by the time the third person completes their one, the 4th person will be ready and waiting with a new contract ready to complete it. Obviously, loads of things can go wrong here. One person might take a very long time to complete theirs, they might run into another team, or what happened to us was another team might start taking some of the contracts. If players start taking the contracts, then you're in a bit more trouble. If you can all find vehicles, then that obviously helps a lot, because then you can move between them a lot quicker. The second person, once they've completed a contract, could go and help the others with theirs, and the first person obviously needs to go and find another contract. Sadly, the old trick where you used to be able to start a contract and then open safes and that would complete the mission for you, that doesn't seem to work in Season 2, or at least we've been told it doesn't work, so we didn't try it. If that does work and you manage to complete the mission that way, please let people know in the comments and I'll pin it just to make sure everyone can see that. So here you can see Flynn is standing by ready with a HVT contract. I'm just going up to this other one and I actually go get a truck just so I can drive around a little bit easier. And then Scotto is going over to start the whole thing with a radiation contract. We figured that's probably the one where we don't know how long it's going to take, how far away it's going to be. So if something's going to go wrong, it's probably going to be that one. So we should start with that one first. And then if we end up messing it up, it doesn't matter that much if we have to start up again. Scotto grabs the secure radioactive material contract and immediately that deadline timer appears for everyone who's on the mission. So now he has to go pick up a Geiger counter, because I don't think he already had it before, frustratingly. He had to go pick that up. He had a car so he could go do this really fast. I could kind of follow it along on the map. And then he had to find those canisters before we could start doing our HVT targets. So to complete 4 missions in 6 minutes, you've got about a minute and a half for each one. I was waiting here next to the HVT one, waiting for Scotto to finish, and he actually finished his first contract in about 1 minute 15, which is absolutely awesome. That meant we were on to good time. I could pick up the next contract immediately, and you can see there it's an eliminate HVT, so I just need to find out where the HVT is going to be, and it was just over here, super close. Having the truck made this a lot quicker, so I could run over here. The HVT tends to spawn outside. It doesn't normally end up in a building, unless it's like high-rise or something like that. But I could see the group of enemies the HVT spawns with was here, so I ran over a bunch of them in case I got the HVT. Weirdly, I couldn't see the HVT here at all. I chased this enemy in just in case it was him, but it still wasn't, which was a bit annoying. Then going outside, he was just around the corner. You can see he's got a slightly different uniform. And as soon as you kill him and then run over his body, that will complete that. So that took me about 40 seconds to get that HVT completely done. Now, as soon as I've completed that one, Flynn's now picked up the next eliminate HVT target, and I decided, you know, other than getting the truck hopelessly stuck, that I was going to go and help Scotto to try and complete the next radioactive materials mission that he was going to do as soon as Flynn finished that one. So now, you've got 6 minutes on that entire timer. We've completed 2 contracts, and we're still well above the 3 minute left on the timer, which means we're running really good time. It's important to kind of keep track of this, because at some point, it might be worth just abandoning the run and saving the contracts to try another run, rather than just burning like 3 contracts or 4 contracts even, and having the timer expire. Now, we had some luck here, and this is one of the things that obviously if you're solo you're not going to quite have this, where the HVT target that Flynn was given happened to be right near where Scotto was waiting for the next radioactive contract. So we thought we could probably do this quicker and the next one a bit quicker if we all just kind of grouped up. So me and Flynn drove over to where Scotto was so we could make sure that we were nearby. Just as we got there, Scotto had just killed them. You can see there the marker moved because you have to stand on the body of the HVT target. Then as soon as that one's completed, we could go find the next one. I could go grab the next radioactive materials contract. Scotto's already got the Geiger counter from doing the first one, and that meant that we'd be able to find this one really easy. And we've still got over 2.5 minutes left on the timer. Now, when you're doing this solo, if you decide to take this on solo, obviously you still can only do contracts one at a time, so time-wise it shouldn't be too bad. But you really do have to think about how long it's going to take you to move between contracts. If a HVT target takes you closer to a different contract from the one you plan to do, you probably want to change your plans and go for that instead. That's going to be the biggest difference, I'd say. You also probably want to try doing the radioactive contracts as much as possible. If there's a group of them clustered together, that's perfect, because as soon as you've got that Geiger counter once, they are incredibly quick to do. Plus, there's always the slight chance that when you're doing a HVT target, someone could kill you, like someone could take you out. Even the bots can sometimes be quite harsh on those, so it's a bit more difficult. So here you can see we've got the last secure nuclear material contract. That took me literally like 6 takes to say that right. That was so unbelievably hard. But immediately Scotto's grabbed the first one. Me and Flynn can't actually tell where the next canister is, so we had to kind of have Scotto giving us directions, telling us roughly where the circle was, and then we could just try and help out, whether that's by killing bots a little bit, or having a look around, because sometimes you can just stumble across the canisters, even if you don't have the Geiger counter. So we were all just kind of running around trying to work out where it might be, with Scotto directing us, telling us what he was seeing on his Geiger counter. But one other nice thing about the radioactive contract is that as soon as you find that second canister, open it up, take the thing out, it's completed. So you can see there, we've got it done with over a minute to spare. So while this mission sounds really difficult, 4 contracts in under 6 minutes, sounds really tough, we actually got it finished in under 5 minutes, so a lot easier than it sounds. Also, for some reason, even though the mission's completed, the timer will keep going. Don't worry about it, the mission's done. You don't even need to exfil or anything like that, but you should be finished. So, if you found this guide useful, please don't forget to leave a like, consider subscribing, turn your notifications on. I'll be making guides for other missions that people say they need help with in the comments below, so let me know which ones you're stuck with and I'll get working on them. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.